and welcome to this brand new episode of the Fully Booked Guest List.
Our guest today is Paul Crofts, the treasurer and festival organiser of the Steel City Beer Festival.
Beer and Cider Festival.
Beer and Cider
yeah.
Festival. Sorry.
I'll get told off.
Mm-hmm. Got to get it right.
So, Paul, the reason I really wanted to get you on today was because you've been the driving force behind the Year of Beer, which is something that we're working on for all of the beer events in Sheffield in 2026. Yeah. But before we get into that, could you tell us a little bit about you and your background, and maybe for people that haven't heard of you before, what it is that you do?
There'll be plenty of them. Yeah, well, as you can probably tell from my voice, I'm Sheffield born and bred. And I mean, I'm retired now. I used to sell kitchen worktops, so no background in the beer industry at all. And then I joined CAMRA 11, 12 years ago, something like that.
Why did you decide to do that?
Well, I mean, I've been interested in beer for a long time. I mean, crikey, when I first started going to pubs, it was you either drank bitter or you drank lager, and I drank bitter. But over the years, it's there's become far more choice and all that. But I think it started from when my son worked behind the bar at Shakespeare's when it reopened, and I remember saying to him a few times, "You don't appreciate how good this is." That you look at the bar in someone like Shakespeare. I said, when I was your age, you'd walk in a bar, and if it was a Tetley's pub, you could have Tetley bitter, Skull Lager, or Guinness, and that was it. And all the pubs were the same. I said, you can't appreciate how good it is now, and that's down to CAMRA. And I thought, yeah, I ought to join. I also had a vague idea I might be willing to open a micro pub at one point.
Oh.
Right.
And I thought it'd be useful to know a little bit more.
That's a good way in. Yeah.
Yeah.
So just for anyone who doesn't know, what is CAMRA?
CAMRA, the campaign for real ale, is what it is. Started in, mid-70s. I mean, they started off. I mean, you look at it now, and it's difficult to comprehend. But back then, there was just all the big breweries were conglomerated into. I think there was just 6 of them, and they were reducing the choice dramatically. And what they were doing, they were going for keg beers. And this is where the thing with CAMRA. You get some traditional CAMRA members who are against keg beer, and it's because they remember all the keg stuff from the 70s, which was terrible.
Yeah.
And the breweries were trying to move down that route. They weren't trying to give you more choice, all the stuff that you think of now as keg beer.
Yeah.
I think the choice, the range of stuff you can have and how good some of it is, wasn't like that. It was terrible. So they wanted traditional cask beer, which tasted better. So they pushed for that. And over the years, of course, they've done a really good job. They got up to nearly 200,000 members. They're really good at lobbying Parliament. So, I mean, I think they've been classed as one of the most successful pressure groups there is.
Yeah.
But now it's struggling a little bit because the idea of the campaign for real ale really was the campaign for good ale. And now that will include keg beer.
Yeah.
But it's not what CAMRA sort of promotes.
So it's almost like beer has evolved faster than CAMRA has evolved.
Yeah.
And CAMRA needs to kind of...
It does. I mean, they are catching up. I mean, you look at our festival, the Steel City Beer Festival.
Yeah.
Beer and Cider Festival. And we have a keg bar, and it's very popular. And there's some great beers in there. And if what you're interested in is good quality beer and a good range of quality beer, you're going to get that with keg as much as your cask. I mean, cask's a distinctive thing, very British. Nobody else in the world does it. I think some of the Americans sort of try a bit of it, but nobody does it in the way that Britain does. So it is something that needs protecting.
Yeah.
But you can't protect it at the expense of other good beers.
Yeah, absolutely. I love a cask beer. I'd say
You do.
if there's not a sour on, whether it's in a can or on tap, I will go for a cask. It's usually Aberdale Moonshine. That's my go-to.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm all for cask, and I there are some people who only drink keg. So similarly, the other way around.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Some people only drink lager.
Yeah.
Some people don't drink at all.
Some people don't drink at all.
Well, you got to feel sorry for them. But,
Each to their own.
Yeah.
The lager's a beer style.
Absolutely, yeah.
There's some great lagers. You can't go to the Czech Republic or Germany and tell them they're not making proper beer.
Yeah.
Because they do.
I mean, that Budvar that they do down at Capital.
Yeah.
I really like that.
You can't beat a lager shandy in the summer.
Bitter shandy in the summer, whatever.
Yeah.
Bitter shandy. So you talked about Shakespeare's just then,
Yes.
and that's a really good example of a venue that's got such a wide selection of beer, both cask and keg, that not just caters to the everyday beer drinker, but also to the people that like the slightly more weird and wonderful beers, like your sours or your imperial stouts. How have they been going since 2010?
About then, something like that.
How have you seen the kind of the Sheffield beer scene evolve since the sort of mid 2000s till today?
I think the thing that's been noticed over the last 10 or 15 years, micro pubs is a big one. I mean, you look at Beer House, which was the first one. Walkley Beer Co. would argue it was them because they did a couple of pop-ups first, but
Right.
In Crooks, strangely enough. But Beer House was the first permanent micro pub, and that was only, what was that, 2014 or something like that that they opened.
Right.
Not as long as you think. And since then, there's been an awful lot of micropubs. I mean, I like micropubs. I like the idea that it's a small place. You quite often will end up talking to the person sat aside. It's almost like what pubs used to be.
Yeah.
Pubs,
Community.
If you go back far enough, pubs were just rooms with people sat around drinking and talking.
Yeah.
There was nothing else. So they're going back to that. I think that's one of the biggest changes. The other one is the breweries. We had, I think, from when I was looking at the last time I've seen the sheet of all the breweries we've got, in like just before 2000 or around 2000, we had perhaps 6-7 breweries. That was about it, really. And since 2010, I was looking at this recently because just to see what we've been like with the history. Since then, we've had, I think, something like 28 breweries open.
Wow,
it's incredible. Isn't
Some
it?
of those have gone. I mean, COVID and
Yeah.
just natural wastage you get with businesses, so they're not all around. We've got 18, 19, 20 breweries at the moment. But that was a big thing. There's a lot of smaller breweries appeared.
Yeah.
And they were all small breweries. You
Yeah.
know, we don't have any really big breweries. Aberdale's probably the biggest now.
Yeah.
Possibly Aberdale or Bradfield, one or the other. But we don't, not the scale we used to have. I mean, Stone's Best Bitter was the best-selling beer in the country for a while, back in the, whenever it was, 70s or 80s.
Yeah.
And now what? The old Stones building has been turned into residential flats, isn't it?
They're demolishing it as we speak. I was down at the Gardeners yesterday and walked past it, and plenty of it's gone.
Yeah. Oh, we were there, and I was on the other side because we'd gone to Club de Paddle, and I could see the Arts Tower, and I was like, I didn't realise you could see that from here, but they just knocked the whole thing down.
Yeah.
But they're keeping parts of it, aren't they? For that?
I think they're trying.
And they're going to try and restore some.
The podcast I'd seen from, is it Capital and Centric who were doing it?
Yes, it is.
I think they'd said something about they're trying to keep as much as they can, but it's some of the features they want to keep, they just can't for whatever reason, whether they're unsafe or whatever, I don't know. But they'll try and keep some, and I hope they do, because, important part of our background, that.
Yeah. Very much so.
So you have been the driving force behind the Year of Beer movement. Could you explain a little bit about what it is and what it means to Sheffield?
I'll tell you where it came from. It's the 50th Steel City Beer Festival this year, and I've been thinking we've got to do something special for the 50th year. So we were thinking all different ways we can promote the festival. Can we get different things going on when people come? And then my thought turned to, well, if we're going to try and do a few more things, we need to try and get a few more people in. So how do we promote it? Then I was thinking, well, we'll get onto Welcome to Sheffield, the website that promotes the city, and can we get them to do something? And then it just sort of clicked in my mind. I thought, well, why don't we just get all the festivals together as like a collective promotion? I thought they would like that idea more than me just coming along saying, please, will you promote our festival for us? So we discussed that idea with them. Some of them came to see me at last year's beer festival, 4 of them from Welcome Sheffield. Said, they were really interested. So then it was a case of talking to all the people who run the other festivals to say, are you interested in trying to do this collective promotion? And it allows Welcome to Sheffield to promote it outside the city a lot easier, rather than just promoting one event. They can go out, promote it around the country, saying we've got this whole year of events. If you're interested in beer, coming to Sheffield to try the beer out, or just come to the festivals, we've got plenty for you to go at. I mean, they already do a good job on Sheffield Beer Week, which they've done for a long time. That's what, 11th year now. So they've done a good job on that, and they've always helped promote our festival as well.
Yeah.
But it just seemed, why not get everybody together and, promote us together?
We are the beer capital of the UK.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah.
Are we self-proclaimed, or is that a fact?
No, it's a fact. It's in the Guinness Book of Records now. Yeah.
Nice.
Honestly.
Love that.
So,
yeah. Oh, he's like, I'm so gullible. Oh, you had me on there.
We have got, was it Pete Brown that did the
did the
study?
The Sheffield Beer Report, yeah.
And that was, we have the most breweries per capita
of
anywhere in the UK.
Yeah.
I don't know what the figures were, but...
It's changed now from that report, because we have lost a couple.
Yeah.
What was that? Recently. Was that 2023, I believe?
I think it was. 22 or 23, but we've lost a few since then. So whether it still stacks up, I don't know. But it was a pretty high figure against other places.
We need to be doing as much as we can as a city to get people visiting Sheffield to come to these events.
Yeah.
They're not just events for people who live locally, but we want them to become destination events for people who are taking the time to get sorry, what?
Nothing.
The train over from Manchester or Leeds or Nottingham.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I do think we do need to do better at shouting about Sheffield as a city and getting people to come here, because the beer tourism is so good in this city, and we do have a lot to shout about. However, a lot of Sheffield don't want that. They want to keep Sheffield for themselves, and I understand why, because it's such a great city, and we do want to. Why would we share it? But also, why wouldn't we want to share it?
It could just be that Sheffield being Sheffield, there's plenty of people who are quite happy to share it with other people.
Yeah.
But it's a case of you've got to shout about it, and we don't really do that, do we?
No, we're too modest. We're too modest.
So, the Year of Beer. We're going to get a page up on Visit Sheffield website.
Yeah, what I had was the 27th of January, they would make it live, and because that's a month before the Neep's End Craft Beer Festival, which is the first one of the 7.
No, I'm excited because Pint Stock's on there, so that's going to be first year for that. And then my old festival, Aberdale Road Beer Festival, which you're familiar with, that's still going.
Yeah,
going strong.
Need to talk to Nicole about that, see how that's getting on. But we're such great events, and we were just talking before you arrived. We were just talking about Indie Beer Feast.
Yeah, we were.
And then the biggest one of all, which is the Steel City.
Of course.
It's good to have an entire program of them, because I understand how some of them might get mixed up, or people might not know which ones they want to go to. They don't know all the ins and outs. So having Visit Sheffield and you guys create this entire calendar essentially of beer festivals is going to be so useful.
Well, one of the things we were hoping was that there are people who travel. I mean, we get people for our festival, and we get people coming from Norwich and London and Manchester, which is great. But what we would like is someone sees it and says, well, we've been up to Sheffield for one of these festivals, it's been great, and then they go, oh, there's another half dozen we can go to.
Yeah.
Oh, this sounds great. Well, rather than just doing that one in October, there's one here in June, one here in April. Let's go and do them. Why not?
Absolutely.
And it just promotes each festival off the back of another. Because you'll have people who are big fans of the Aberdale Road Beer Festival who might look at that list and think, well, we'll come to Steel City then, and vice versa. Or someone who goes to Indie Beer Feast and sees it,
Yeah, and we had people come from miles away for Aberdale Road.
Yeah.
There was a family that came over from Boston. There was some guys that came over from the Isle of Man. It's been crazy to see how far people have travelled for that event. And it's just a pub crawl.
Yeah.
It's not just a pub crawl. It's more than that.
It's a glorified pub crawl.
It's a glorified.
It's a gamified pub crawl.
Yeah.
But I just love to see that it's inspired people to go on and do other stuff on that road, like the Aberdale Live.
Oh, that was amazing.
What a great event.
Yeah. And I'm sure that came simply because the beer festival was so popular.
Yeah, and I think it's a nice opportunity to get more venues involved in stuff like that, collective stuff, because Aberdale Road Beer Festival is very much limited to specific pubs or micro pubs, because I needed at least 4 draft lines to be able to do, that was the minimum requirement to get in. I mean, on the subject of pubs, we are seeing loads of pubs closing at the moment.
Mhm.
I mean, just
They
a
are.
couple the other day.
The closed
The
shop.
closed shops gone. Walkley
Yeah.
Cottage gone. So
They were the
Walkley Cottage.
same people behind
Same
them, weren't they?
people.
Oh, of
I don't
course.
think they're gone shut permanently. I think
They'll
the
come-
owners will get some new landlords.
get a new
in.
landlord in.
Well, we hope,
Yeah.
you know. But that's the problem we've got now. We've got the pubcos, and a lot of them are basically property companies. That's they just look at a building and think, oh, that's worth X. We could sell that for that and turn it into flats or whatever. They're not really interested, I don't think, in the fact that it's a pub. That's a something like the closed shop. There'll be loads of people around that area who go in the closed shop regularly.
Yeah.
That's their local. That it's important to them.
Yeah.
But to the company that owns it, it's £500,000 worth of building, and someone wants to buy it. Well, why
Yeah.
not sell it? It's just an asset. They're just a property company. That's what they are, and that's one of the problems we're having.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's been a lot of talk recently. Pubs banning Labour MPs, and
Yeah.
they need to do something about the rates, which I think they're going to announce in the next day or two.
Are they actually going to do something about it?
Well, they're
Because
talking about it being temporary. That's the worry. Everybody's after a permanent change to the just the model of the business rates, but I think it's going to be a temporary change just to possibly help them through some difficulties. It might be just to help the government get past all the fuss until everybody forgets, and then they'll go back to charging too much. But I don't know. But I'd seen an interview with someone who was saying that because he works for a pubco, he's got to buy all his beer and spirits from
Yeah.
them. And I think he said he could go in the supermarket and buy a bottle of Jack Daniels for £20 something. The pubco he buys from, £64.
Whoa.
And he's got to buy it from them.
it's ridiculous.
I think, well, that's if that's replicated across all their drinks offer,
Yeah.
how on earth do they make money?
Yeah. I was
You
going
know.
to say, because if they're selling things at a reasonable rate, then they're never going to be able to break even if they're having to buy things at that. That's extortionate.
It's just daft. But that's, like I said, that's the problem with the pubcos. We could be here all night ranting about them.
Talking about pubcos.
Yeah.
I mean, drinkers do feel a bit powerless at the moment watching pubs close. What advice or would you? I mean, I know I got a feeling what you're going to say.
Yeah.
Go to the pub more and spend more money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's one way around it. But it's difficult. It's there's been the cost of living crisis is a phrase from a few years ago, but I don't think it's got any better.
No.
So
I
people's
completely agree.
disposable income's not there. And I think drinking habits changed as a result of COVID.
Yeah, I agree.
It's noticeable. People seem to go out earlier, but they go home earlier as well.
Yeah.
And some people just got out the habit of going to pubs
Yeah.
much.
I mean, I'm convinced that I know Gen Z. I am Gen Z, but I have noticed that Gen Z, my friends, we're not drinking as much as people used to, and I think Gen Alpha are going to be, possibly, even more so.
They're seeing a difference in that though. We were talking to someone that organises uni nights, and they were saying that this year of first years at uni seem to be a lot more interested in going out drinking than the 3 or 4 years that came before them. The years that kind of came of drinking age during COVID and just after COVID, that it's now been so long since, it's been 5 years. The generation coming through now who are just turning 18 seem to be more into drinking than the ones before them.
That's a good point.
That could be a change that, if that's a trend or an anomaly, I don't know. But I'm so sad about these pubs, like the pubs closing and the government almost trying to close them, like doing everything in their power to shut as many of the pubs as possible.
Yeah, they're just ignoring the difficulties they're having and
Yeah.
not wanting to help. And one thing CAMRA have been shouting about is saving pubs, and they've been saying about they're like a community area,
Yeah.
particularly if you're rural pubs.
Yeah.
You get somewhere like the Anglers Rest at Bamford. It's the only pub in the village, so people will go to the pub and then they'll talk to the neighbours.
Yeah.
They don't go up there to play the fruit machines or whatever. They go up there to talk to the neighbours. Imagine if that's gone. Everybody in the village, how do you, other than bumping into people as you walk around the street, where are they going to go to meet?
Yeah, it's sad. I reckon the more pubs close, this loneliness epidemic that's definitely happening is just going to exacerbate it. And I think particularly with men, I think women are a lot better at meeting up with their friends, going to each other's houses and whatnot. But guys will literally just say, do you want to go to the pub? And then they might have a beer and end up talking about something that's quite personal to them. Maybe it's all about
unlikely being men. We don't
Well,
do that type of thing, do we?
So there's a charity called 2 Pints Deep who literally encourage people to go and have a drink at the pub and talk about, because male suicide rates is through the roof really, and it's all about having to, I don't know, be a bit more vulnerable and ask your mates how they are, and if that pub isn't there to facilitate it, we're just going to go downhill from there.
Happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to clarify, they do not encourage people to go down to the pub and drink 2 pints. They're called 2 Pints Deep because they want men to have conversations with each other that they would feel comfortable having if they had 2 pints. I made that mistake, and was it Luke?
Yeah.
He told me off. So yeah, that's the idea. But yeah, it's about spaces in which people can have conversations and come together, and that's what pubs are so much like. I think the government just sees it as like, oh, it's just another business asking for a bit of help. It's not.
No.
It's the foundation of the entire community.
Yeah.
Like historically, that's what a pub is. It's where everyone goes to meet up. Just like you said, if the one pub in the village closes down, where's that community? It just falls apart.
Yeah.
Well, I always think, because we've had this discussion many times, I always think even if somebody goes to the pub on their own, doesn't know anybody, goes and gets a pint and sits in the corner and either watches everybody or reads a paper or whatever, they're still having to come out the house and interact with other people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Even if the interaction is nothing more than not disturbing the person next to you, or when someone says, can I have that seat? Yeah, of course you can, or talking to the barman. It might be minor, but it's still out the house interacting with people.
Yeah.
And that makes a huge difference. Those micro interactions are massive when you don't see anyone for a whole day, especially with people working at home a lot and not being in that office environment or a warehouse or wherever they might work. But yeah, that's it'd be such a shame if the government doesn't sort something out. And
I think they will, because there's been so much pressure on them. The fact that it's likely to be temporary, I don't know whether it's temporary and then in a year or two's time they will change the rating system. I have a feeling what they're going to do, this is just a guess, but I have a feeling they're not going to change the rating system. They'll just give some sort of discount.
Right.
So rather than saying we're going to halve all your rateable values, they'll leave the rateable values as they are, but give them a discount. But it may be in a year or two's time they go, right, now we've had a good think about it. This is how we're going to change it all. Because they can't, the pressure's been put on them quite quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So to change the whole rating system in a space for a few months is probably unrealistic.
Yeah.
So if they do some temporary support because they're planning a big change, that'll be fine.
Well, thank you so much for coming. But before you go, I want to know what your favourite pub
We
is.
wanted to lighten the mood after that
After
conversation.
Pubs are shutting. It's time.
But
What's your favourite pub?
Don't get in, pick your favourite, but as long as it doesn't get you in trouble.
Well, that's a problem, of course, because
you're impartial.
I'm impartial, yeah. Particularly being one of the judges for the pub of the year.
Ooh.
But we have a set of guidelines for that's what people forget. We ask all our members to vote on their favourite pubs, but then we get a shortlist and we go out and judge it. And there are CAMRA criteria you need to judge a pub on.
Right.
So we've got guidelines on how you can score the pubs.
So it's not just this is my favourite.
Personal preference will creep into it, but in theory, there's an awful lot of the point scoring that is just, does this pub have a range of beers? Do they have a community focus?
Yeah.
There's 7 or 8 points that we're meant to score on. But favourites. I like somewhere that's got a good range of beer, so that when you walk in, you think, "What do I fancy? If I fancy a stout or a pale ale or whatever, I know I'm going to get it." So you got favourites like Kelham Tavern, Shakespeare's. I do like the Crow, because I think the Crow's been done out really nicely.
Great beers in there.
Yeah. And I was always fond of Wendy when she was still here. So, and Wendy was a big mover behind that. So Harlequin for the same reason. Chris Bamford running it. I like the Blake, which is a good pub.
Yeah.
Near us.
Yeah. I'm fond of the Itchy Pig, both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the Itchy Pig.
I do like the Itchy Pig. Beer House I like on Ecky Road.
Have you been to the beer house down in Hillsborough?
Hillsborough, yeah. Well, I go in there every time there's a Wednesday match.
Oh, yeah,
I
of
have a
course.
drink in
You're a
there
Wednesday
before I go
fan.
to a match. Yeah.
Yeah.
One I don't get too much because it's the other side of the city for me is Commercial at Chapeltown.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've been in there a couple of times.
Yeah,
really liked it.
I like it in there.
They've got a nice team that work there as well.
Yeah.
Every time I've been in.
We're friends with some big fans of the Commie, so they're going to be happy that Commie got a mention.
It's a great pub.
We are blessed for pubs. Let's just hope we don't lose any of them.
Oh, I tell you one thing. If ever you go somewhere else, depends where you go, but you can go to another city or another town for a weekend away, and then you start looking around for some good pubs to go in, and you think, wow, this is not Sheffield, is it?
Yeah.
Maybe if you go to Manchester or London, it's fine, but a number of places where you'd think, why am I struggling to find lots of good places for a drink?
Yeah.
You'll find some good ones, without a doubt, but there's not the number of good ones we've got. We've got an absolute embarrassment of riches in that respect.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Hundreds of them.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
Oh, 1 second. Have I plugged the Steel City Beer and Cider Festival enough yet?
You can
21st to the 24th of October.
Do you want to, there we go.
Kellam Island Museum.
It is a great event, the Steel City Beer Festival.
It is good.
I'm trying to plan a few extra things this year because it's something special. CAMRA have this big learn and discover bar where they give out samples of beer and they talk about the malt, the hops, and the whole process of brewing the beer. So I'm trying to get that brought in somewhere.
Nice.
It's just space. That's the thing. Finding enough space.
Yeah.
Because we are just about at capacity.
Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, we're trying to get some special little things planned, extra little bits and pieces just to make it more of an event.
Yeah.
We're looking into the possibility of finding out what beers are on sale at the very first festival.
Whoa.
And seeing if actually any of them are still brewed, and if they are, can we get them at the festival?
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Well, we'll see the list first. I mean,
I was going to
might
say,
be
maybe they
might be
won't
some really
be.
boring 1970s beers, but we'll have a look.
Bit of nostalgia though.
Yeah.
People
And
like that.
what we'll perhaps do is sort of go around that time. Just call them like heritage beers. So if there's good beers that weren't actually at that festival, but they were around in the 70s, then we might say, let's go for them because they're still a good beer.
Yeah.
And allow people to see what we were all drinking
Back in day.
50 years ago.
And how good we've got it now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have.
Right, well,
Brill.
Paul, thank you so much for coming. And,
No problem.
for being our second guest on the guest list.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Lovely
Cheers.
stuff. All right.
Cheers.
Thank you so much for listening. We have our normal bulletin episode next week, and then stay tuned for another guest list episode the week after that. See you later.
Bye-bye.